Welcome back. In this video we're going to look at creating helixes, how to use the sweep tool, and the beginnings of creating a thread on Onshape. So we're just going to create a new part studio. We'll rename it, and this is going to be renamed Sweep. Okay. For this, what we're going to do is essentially create a helter-skelter around a cylinder. So hopefully that will make more sense, but the first thing we're going to do is create a circle. I'm going to make that 80 millimeters wide. Change my view, and we'll make it 80 millimeters tall, keep everything nice and consistent. From here, what I'm going to do is select the outside surface of my cylinder, and you start to get some more complicated tools out here. So underneath this offset surface is something called a helix, and you'll see what it does is it draws that sort of helter-skelter around the outside of a cylinder. So I've got a load of different things I can select. I can do clockwise or anti-clockwise. I can set how many times I want to, and I can also play with the angles. For the moment at this stage, I'm not going to play with the angles, and I'm going to set 8 revolutions, which means there should be roughly, or should be, 1 every 10 millimeters. And then I'm going to click tick. So this here is just a reference line. It hasn't actually created anything yet. So now, and this is slightly more complicated, I look at where my helix finishes by finding the little dot at the end, and then from that I look at which surface that is on. So it's on this surface. So I'm going to then create a sketch on this surface, and this is going to be whatever it is that I want to rotate. So if we go back to the basics of a thread essentially is a triangle. Now what I can do, and again we're getting slightly more complex here, I can set certain parts to be equal to each other. There we go, it took me a while to find it. So if I click equal, if I want this line and that line to be of equal length, you'll see it changes them. And then that one to that one, it changes them. So I've got a nice even triangle now. What I'm going to do is select this surface here, and I'm going to reference that against my work plane, and I'm going to set that to 40 millimeters because I made an 80 millimeter wide cylinder, so that's now sat exactly on the top there. What I can also do is select this top surface, and I'm going to reference that against here, and I can see that is slightly over 80 because I'm going to set it at 80. So now I know my triangle is sat right in that corner. I'm then going to tick it. So I've created my helix with 8 wraps and my triangle. I'm then going to go and select this wormy looking symbol here called sweep, and it asks me the 2 questions: faces and sketch regions to sweep. That's my triangle. I click on the sweep path and I select that. If I then click tick, you can see I've essentially created a little slide around my cylinder, or a thread. Obviously the same as before, I can go in and edit that to be whatever I want it to be. So let's say for some strange reason I wanted a 3 millimeter circle on the other end of it. I can click tick, and there we go. It took a little while to load up because it's slightly more complex, but I've created a sweep.